So the question is, how do you mark the patients in a noticeable way when you've discussed dropping Delta insurance with them? And so I'll show you a couple quick ways here to do this. One is just to use what's already in Open Dental that they call the credit status. So if I double click over here and I look right over here, the credit type, I can put any single letter in there. So I can change this to a Y and say OK. Okay, so now that can show up in the appointment book. Let's go to the appointment book. Okay, and there's Mickey Mouse's appointment, and there's that Y right there. Now, I only can put one character in there. It can be uppercase or lowercase, and it can be any character, so you got 26 choices. But if everybody knows that this is the, hey, we talked about dropping Delta with that patient, it's going to show up in there. Unfortunately, I don't see any way to have it show up in either the paperless routing slip or a paper routing slip. But it is going to show up there. It's also going to show up over here. Okay, so, and you can move these guys up and down. So here I renamed it as Delta. You don't have to do that. The name that it normally has is ABC0. Okay, for the credit type. And I just renamed it to make it a little bit more clear. So that was no big deal. Okay, so that's one way to do it. And if I change it here, oops, I got to go over here and change it. So let's change this to a capital N. Okay, so I'm changing it in the family module. Okay, and then when I go here, not only is it going to show up in the family module right there, but it's going to show up over here. Okay. All right, the other way to do it is to create a custom field. If you're already using these credit types in here and you don't want to stop using it however you're using it now, then you can create a custom field. And that's what I also did here. And the custom field is down here, and it's called Delta Discussion. Again, can be renamed anything that you want. But that's a custom field. This is where this care credit field comes from in there. So if I double click on this, again, I'm editing this from within the patient information module. So I can change this to done. Now, you can have a checkbox in here, but when you put an X in it here, it shows up as a 1 on the appointment book. I'm not sure about that. So I chose to do a pick from list, and it just has done and not done. And say OK. You can put more things in there, by the way. OK, more choices. OK, so here we are now. Now that says, so I'm in the family module. I can see this. If you wanted to, you could move it up or down in the list, but it's there, and it also, whoops, is over here. Okay, so I've got contradictory information there. Now, the only problem here, the thing to be aware of, is for a short appointment, this is going to get kind of crowded. So if we make this, and a lot of things, that's true of a lot of things. So if I make that a real short appointment, you're not going to see that information. But it's still going to be pretty easily displayed over here on this. So just kind of something to think about. And there's not anything you can do about that. Okay, so either way will work. The easiest way is to choose that first option because that's already in there in Open Dental. And all you have to do is go double click over here, is go to this guy, the credit type. They kept the name here and I changed the other name in the appointment book. But you can leave the credit type and the original name is ABC0. Okay, so hopefully that answers the question.